So welcome Mexican fans of Vikings Mexico. In this special episode, we will be interviewing one of the best fans out there. He's from Minnesota. He has been in the stadium many times, and well, we would like to introduce Brian. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So tell us first about your story as a Vikings fan. How did you end up being a fan from this lovely team?
Oh, yeah. So I really didn't have a choice. I was born and instantly my mom made me a Vikings fan. So I know that's a story for a lot of us that we, especially when you're from Minnesota, you kind of get that allegiance handed down to you from family. And yeah, she started me watching the Vikings at a young age, and I was always interested in it, but I really didn't become very passionate about it until Randy Moss came in '98. That's kind of when I mean, that's the story for everyone, because when you see a player like that, you're like, wow, it takes it to a whole nother level, the game. But I think Randy Moss did that for a lot of casual fans. He kind of got us all excited to a whole new level. So I would say from '98 on, I kind of became a diehard fan opposed to just a casual fan.
Right. That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah, many
that's an
Mexican
amazing answer.
Yeah, that many Mexican fans always remember Randy Moss from the '90s. It's I mean, was an outstanding player.
Yeah, he was. We'll never see another player that the way that he affected, the game itself and became that deep threat. I mean, we never really saw a player like him ever until he came around. Any play could go, 80 yards for a touchdown. It was just, he kind of kick-started, a new type of football, which is cool.
Your jersey, your shirt has Randy Moss, right?
Oh, the yeah. It's the moon, when he mooned the Green Bay fans. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a classic moment from one of the Vikings fans.
Absolutely. A great time.
Yeah.
Man, I have another question for you. Over the past years, the NFL have organized one regular season game in Mexico City. Many teams have come to the Estadio Azteca, that is the stadium of here in Mexico. If the Vikings could ever come to play in Mexico City, would you come to see them here in Mexico?
Oh, wow.
Why yes or why not?
Well, I've been to a few stadiums. I've been to Lambeau Field and Soldier Field in Chicago, and to me and a buddy went to Los Angeles for the Rams game a couple of years ago. So they were playing at USC back then. That was before their stadium opened. But I definitely look at it as a cool opportunity, because your teams don't travel out. The Vikings played a game in London, which I didn't go to because I didn't really have the money, because that's an expensive trip for sure.
Yeah.
But I would definitely say yes, just because what an experience it would be just to meet. I mean, go to a different country and see all these fans that are passionate about the Vikings too. I feel like that would be a cool part of it, to share that. It's easy to do it at a game when you're talking to people from Minnesota or around here, but to get a perspective of a different country and how passionate they are, I think it'd be very cool. I would definitely be there for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, man, could be an amazing experience. The Estadio Azteca is 2 times bigger than the bank.
Oh yeah, I've seen it during soccer, USA and Mexico soccer games. I've seen it.
Yeah.
And I've watched. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2 times bigger than the bank, and the people here in Mexico are really louder.
Yeah.
It's even if
really
they
louder.
don't know the team, if they don't know the team. I went to the Chargers and Kansas City game last year.
Oh yeah.
And the people didn't matter who was they supporting. If Kansas City made something good, they was cheering for Kansas City, and if Chargers were doing something great, the people was cheering for Chargers. So it would be. I think that it could be an amazing experience for you.
They're just excited for football, right?
Yeah, I mean, you don't
for
have any
American
idea.
football, yeah.
Yeah, it's our holy grail. Well, at least for me, because I'm into the fantasy thing, and
Okay.
I watch a lot of games, not just Vikings. My father is a Cowboys fan. My sisters are Packers and Ravens, so I watch plenty of NFL games.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Another question: what would you do if your son or daughter ever said, "Father, I'm a Packers fan"?
Well, I don't have any kids yet, so I don't have to worry about it yet. But
Okay.
I mean, I think if I'm doing my job correctly, that they'll never be a Packers fan. So
Yeah, man.
but I mean, to be honest with you, you do want them to think for themselves, and it's one of those things where nobody's perfect, right? So you can just tell them that, like, no one's perfect. But yeah, that's a weird. I just feel like if I just keep putting them in Viking stuff, like when they're born through their, but then you get kids that like want to do everything opposite of you. So like they're, they kind of are like, well, you like this, so I'm going to do this. So yeah, I would just tell them to think about the decision that he's making or she's making, and just know that it's the wrong decision.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely react the same way. I mean, I will accept it, of course, because they are my children, right? But it will be very weird. Imagine like going to the stadium to a Vikings and a Packers game.
I couldn't do it.
Oh, man. I couldn't do it too.
Imagine yourself, you have like a young son or daughter, and the Vikings like score a touchdown, and you're like, yeah, what? Like you're yelling at your little kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
everyone would judge you. Like, who is this guy? He's crazy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I told you before we start recording that my little brother is a Packer fan.
No? Oh yeah.
And that's a big proof that I can allow that. No, yeah. Because if they score, I swear it. But I start ta-da, 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 and he starts to sing, I don't want to work, and it's like, no, stop, man. We are in a Viking house, no, we don't sing that here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man, it's really tough that. No, I couldn't allow it. I definitely do what my father did with me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We're going to the next question. From this century, which are your favorite players?
Oh wow. I'd say my all-time favorite player is Anthony Carter.
All right.
I feel like he gets overshadowed a lot by Chris Carter because, Chris Carter everyone knows who Chris Carter is, and he's a Hall of Famer. But if you go back and watch Anthony Carter, like, he was a baller, man. He was so good. I would say Randy Moss is obviously someone that I feel like if you're a Vikings fan and you don't like Randy Moss, like, that doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah, right.
I really appreciate too a lot of the the unsung heroes like Jim Kleinsasser and Chad Greenway, like guys that like worked really hard and didn't really get the recognition that like Adrian Peterson did or Brett Favre did. I really like Percy Harvin was one of my favorites too.
Yeah.
He was just such a great athlete and such a great player that he kind of sucks how things panned out with him, but he was very fun to watch those couple years, the handful of years he was here. Harrison Smith, he's another one of those guys that is like so good at what he does that he never gets you never really hear him talked about because he just like shows up and does his thing, and
Right.
he's one of those like he comes to work, does his job, and goes home. Like he doesn't expect anything from anyone, which I appreciate players that aren't, me. Those kind of players kind of annoy you. But I think Adam Thielen's a guy just because he's from Minnesota, so we all have kind of a connection with him too. Whereas, we had that with baseball too with Joe Mauer and the Twins because he was from Minnesota. So it's kind of the same thing for us to know that we have that appreciation that he started like in Minnesota at a small college and like wasn't drafted and then found his way to his favorite team. There's a picture of him when he was a kid on Halloween and he went as Randy Moss. And then like to be able to grow up and play for the Vikings is pretty awesome. Yeah, I mean, there's a handful of guys, but I would say those are really the guys that stick out.
Yeah, we think the same.
Jared Allen in that answer,
I mean, we are big fans of Jared Allen. The guys do.
Wait, Jared Allen. Yeah, I'm sorry. He's amazing. You're right. Yeah, I forgot one.
It's okay. But yeah, I mean, we look like one of the first players that I saw, which got me into this team, was Jared Allen. He was an amazing player. Yeah, and also Adrian Peterson as well. But you did mention him.
Yeah, for example, in my case, the first game that I saw in a stadium was that Monday night on week 4 in 2009.
Okay.
I went to Minneapolis and I watched that game, and I saw Brett Favre and Jared Allen.
Yeah.
And I fall in love with Jared Allen football. He was like, oh my god.
Yeah, he was amazing that night. He was all over the place.
Yeah, man. He was always good, but that night I saw something that I never saw.
Yeah.
So even I fall in love. Hear the fight song too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, hear the end, because the people in Minnesota always sing the end, the Vikings. It's called Vikings. Let's go. And to me, Jared Allen marks something in my life. I don't know. What about Ruben?
I mean, absolutely. Seeing Adrian Peterson, what he did on the Vikings, he blew my mind. And also Jared Allen. I mean, they are both amazing players who give 100%. And yeah, I mean, I'm with you guys.
The thing with Jared Allen is, like, he was such a personality too.
Yeah.
Like, he had a mullet and was just like he was just crazy. Like you said, he was always going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. I mean,
it didn't matter. It didn't matter if we were 9-0 or 0-9. Like, he gave everything he had every game. It was cool.
I mean, in the back in the Super Bowl 50. What was 50. That? 50, right?
50 against
I only wanted
against
the Panthers win because Jared Allen was there.
Oh yeah.
And that's the only reason I was cheering for the Panthers. Otherwise, I didn't care as much. But
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, for the next question, what is your best memory at the Dome and your best memory at the US Bank Stadium?
Oh wow, the Metrodome. I think the Metrodome. I missed the Metrodome. It was so loud. I think it was way louder than US Bank Stadium, but maybe it was because I was young, so it felt like it was louder. I don't know, but there'd be like third down plays in the Metrodome. It's like you couldn't even hear yourself think. Like, it was like your body was shaking. It was so loud.
Oh my god.
So I'm trying to think of the Metrodome. So I remember what was it? 2000, we played the Saints in a playoff game. It was the year we lost 41-0 to the Giants, but it was the game before that. And Randy Moss had like two catches for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's like he only had 2 catches, but they were 2 touchdowns. And I just remember like being in awe of that guy every time. Like, he'd catch like a 2-yard pass and go like 60 yards, like run past especially as a little kid, it just doesn't make any sense that he could do that.
Right.
I mean, there's like 11 grown men athletes chasing one guy. They can't catch him. So that was probably my best moment there. US Bank has to be the Minneapolis Miracle because I was there with my friend, and before that, when the Saints took the lead, we were talking about it, how here we go again. Like, of course, this was supposed to be the year. It was supposed to be different. And it was we had the play where it happened. It was like, we're not going to get, everyone as Vikings fans, we always, think the worst because we've seen it all really.
We are used to that.
Yeah.
But from where we were sitting, so we were up in the corner, and then it happened at the end zone across on the other side of the field. So we saw Stefan catch it and run in, but we didn't know if he stepped out of bounds or not. So we had to see the replay because we couldn't see. So we're thinking in our section, we kind of reacted, but we weren't sure because we didn't know if he had stepped out. But we were like, oh, great, if he stepped out now, we have to sit through a field goal to try to win the game. So we're like, no.
Here we go again.
Yeah. And they showed the replay, and he stayed in. And I mean, I stood up on my seat where you sit on it, and jumped into the people in the row behind us, jumped into the guy. People were hugging and embracing. And it's just one of those things where it's 70,000 people are embracing each other. It's amazing how, especially with, the way our country is right now with a lot of division and everything,
right,
to have all those people there for having that one common, interest of the Vikings and embrace each other is pretty amazing.
Is it every time you go to the stadium, is it different, or it's the same?
I think noon games don't really have as much energy. I feel like some games at noon aren't very loud. Okay. Maybe I'm just the Metrodome. I felt like it was always loud, no matter the time of the game, whatever. But primetime games are cool because the introductions and stuff, how the glass roof, so you can see the sun comes through and everything. Right. But at night when they shut the lights off for the entrance, the introductions, and everything, it makes it a lot cooler. And I feel like it's louder too when they do for prime time.
Right. The next question was, how was your day during the Minneapolis Miracle? But tell us, how was that day before the Miracle, during the game, the whole game,
okay,
and after the game?
Yeah, since you wake up or
since
something.
You woke up.
Since you woke
okay.
What was your day?
So we tailgate every game, me and a lot of friends do. So we got out there early just to watch. God, I think it was Pittsburgh and Jacksonville played before us, and Jacksonville just whooped. They beat them, and everyone was shocked because that was the year they went to the AFC Championship game, the Jaguars. But just that, I mean, we tailgated, had food. There wasn't really many nerves because we played so well that year. Especially at home, we played really well. I think we went 7-1 at home. I think our only loss was the Lions game, week 4. I think that was our only home loss. So we were confident, and going into it, it was still Drew Brees. So you gotta worry because he's still he's still a top 5 Hall of Fame quarterback. But and the game couldn't have started any better. I mean, we're up 17-0 at halftime, and everyone's like, sweet, everyone's kind of feeling good. And then, at the end of the first half, Forbeth missed a field goal to make it 20-0 at halftime, and we were kind of we're like, that was kind of that momentum shift, that you worry about. Because it kind of gave like the Saints a little bit of hope, like, okay, well, we can. And then the second half seems like a blur. It was like they scored, we're like, oh, that's fine. We weren't going to shut them out, whatever. And then Case throws that ridiculous interception.
Oh,
and
right.
They score. He just like threw it up for grabs, whatever. And we're like, they score again at 17-14. We're like, great, okay. Well, you start to kind of get a little nervous. And then that throw to Alvin Kamara that gave them the lead. It was like 21-20. And then you start to like sit on your hands, and you're like, I knew this was too good to be true. You're like, what's happening? Because we had the number one defense in the league that year, so you didn't really know how this was happening. Then we went down. Forbath made it, and we're like up by 2 with 2 minutes to go. We're like, we got it. Our defense is the best in the football, no problem. And the Saints get to 4th and 10. We're like one play, and we're going to the NFC title game, and they complete it. And that was kind of where we're like, great, they're going to run the clock. They're going to run the clock out and kick a field goal, but we stopped them on 3rd and 1. Anthony Harris doesn't get a lot of credit for that, but if he doesn't stop Alvin Kamara on that 3rd and 1, they just run the clock out and win the game. So he deserves a lot of credit for that stop on 3rd down. But and then that last drive, it was just
insane, right?
I mean, the first play of the drive, we get a false start, so it's 1st and 15. We're like, of course, like, could anything go right? And then we got down to that play and 10 seconds to go. And I don't really remember all of it because you kind of like black out a little bit because you're like, what just happened? Because, everyone's going crazy. I just remember the throw and the catch, and then seeing Diggs sprinting towards the end zone. It was so surreal. Like, it just was absolutely crazy. And then after the game, there was a blizzard outside. So, like, we were driving home, and it was like, who cares if there's a blizzard? It's just somehow. I mean, there's a lot of apartments, like condos, right by the stadium, and like people had their windows open in the winter, like screaming out the windows, like, "Yeah, we won, we won!" Everyone was nuts. It was cool.
That's an amazing experience because we Mexican fans we watch it in the TV.
Oh yeah.
We don't have those moments like every day or every Sunday.
Yeah, it was we got to enjoy it for a week until the next game when we just
yeah. We don't have to remember that game. We are good at the Minneapolis Miracle, and that's it. That's
it. With you, how it was the game of Minneapolis Miracle, Ruben?
I mean, I was here at home. I'm from Querétaro. It's like from the center of the country. So we watch it in the TV. We like my family doesn't like the Vikings, but they support me. So we prepared dinner. We watched all the games, and it was insane. I mean, everyone was like, "Good for you, Ruben, good for you." And I was like, "Yeah."
You're like, you don't even realize how happy I am right now.
Yeah. Even my Packer sister was like, "Oh, good for you." I mean,
yeah.
It was like an insane moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every NFL fan, I mean, could agree with that.
Yeah, in my case, for example, it was all my family in home. It was my uncles, my cousins. We are all Minnesota fans. Vikings. We are all Vikings fans, and we were all at home, and we watched the game together. And at the fourth quarter, we were like, "Oh my God, this can be possible." And my uncles, my uncles and my dad were sit together, like, well, they are brothers, no, but they were like I can't believe this. And my brother, my big brother, was in front of the TV, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna take a shower exactly for the 10 seconds, and then I heard a scream, and I turn around, and I saw the Dix running to the touchdown, and we were like, oh my god. The house explode. The house explode. And my brother had a mug of beer, and he was so energetic with that moment that he threw the mug of beer into the wall, and we were like, oh my god. I remember I have a great memory with that, because my father and my uncles were crying together and hugging.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were embracing and things like that. And my big brother fall to the floor and start crying, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe this. My girlfriend in that moment was like, he doesn't like the sports, but in that moment he saw something insane, because my cousins were screaming. One of my cousins went to his car, and he started to knock the klaxon to tell them, all the neighbors, the Vikings won, the Vikings won. It was we're a really loud family when the Vikings play, and it was that moment was a true experience for my family, because we don't have those moments any we don't have those kind of moments every time, every game. So
Oh yeah.
so that moment to me was like, I think that's one of my best memories with the Vikings,
Yeah, me too as well.
because I even I remember, and I start to
Oh yeah. No,
Start to shivering.
it's
yeah,
such an emotional like 3 hours, and then add something in like that, and it's like, okay, like I wasn't
Yeah.
emotional already.
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
man.
for the next question, I want you to be like to give us your whole perspective, because it is a very controversial thing around Mexican fans. I mean, not only with Mexican fans, but you'll understand what I'm saying. Do you believe in Kirk Cousins?
Do I believe in Kirk Cousins?
Yeah.
Well, I've actually believed in him since he got here, which isn't the same for a lot of other people. But a lot of people talk about um, his time in Washington and how he. I mean, if you look at his stats when he became a starter in Washington, he absolutely was consistent. Like his 25 touchdowns, 4,000 yards, whatever. But people will say like, well, Washington didn't win a lot of games. I mean, they were like 7-9, 8-8, 9-7. But if you look at the defenses he had, they're always like in the 20s. So like, I don't think you should ever put it on a single player, because it's how, the best teams win football games. I mean, you need the whole team to be good, not just one side of the ball or one specific player. And I think that he definitely struggled his first year here. I feel like he kind of played he didn't play loose. He played, it felt like he played scared. Maybe it was the new contract or a new team, or he just wasn't comfortable. And there were times when he looked like absolutely incredible. And then there were times where you're like, what are you, you're like, dude, are you crazy? Like, why would you ever? But I feel like that is the same with every quarterback. There are definitely games where you're like, you watch Drew Brees play and you're like, even against the Vikings, I mean, this last year in the playoffs, it's like Drew Brees was terrible. I mean, he had a horrible game. So,
Right.
and it's like, it happens to the best quarterbacks, but those quarterbacks kind of get a pass because they've won a championship. So that, that kind of is the difference. But I feel like with Kirk and coming into another year in Minnesota, I feel like he has really done well with this Gary Kubiak offense. like we saw last year was definitely the best Kirk I think we've ever seen as
Right.
far as
Yeah.
his career.
Mhm.
So now they have a second year, and now to have Gary Kubiak being the one that's calling the plays, I think that'll help a lot too. I was a big fan of Kevin Stefanski, but he was also a first year play caller. So you could tell there were situations where he got out coached, where he had a game plan, it didn't work. Like the Packer game is a good example, the Monday night
Yeah.
one. And he had a game plan and it didn't work. And he didn't know how to adjust. So like we kept doing the same thing even though it wasn't working. And that was frustrating.
Right.
Like you're like, why are you running the ball up the middle still? Like it's not gonna work.
Yeah. For example, another
um,
game with Chicago against Chicago in the Soldier Field, it was a mess too.
yeah. Even the San Francisco playoff game, like
Yeah.
we were doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
And I feel like someone like Kubiak, who has 4 Super Bowl rings, and he's been a winner and he knows what's going on. Like he'll be able to match up as far as when something isn't working, he'll have a second option, which will make Kirk not look like he's the scapegoat. Because I mean, you're running the plays that are called as a quarterback. You're not, when you don't have the freedom of say like Peyton Manning, where you can just go up there and be like change every play. Like not every quarterback has that
Right.
ability. But I mean, I think that Kirk is a very underrated quarterback in the fact that you see the weirdest reasons for why people don't like him. Like a lot of it's not even on the field.
Right.
Like I've even read like he's too Christian. Like
Yeah.
what does that even mean?
I also read that. That like that the thread or like that thing. So like, it's like, what does that have to do with football, right?
I know.
Yeah,
And
but I saw it.
I almost feel like he's like too normal, so people don't like him. Like he's just a dad and a husband,
Right.
and like a man of faith, and he plays football. Like that's all. So
yeah, we are big fans
Philip
of Kirk
Rivers, we have a good example, no? Philip Rivers is Christian, and he had nine kids for that, and no one
yeah,
says, all right, he's not a good player for having
and
nine kids and being Christian.
And he hasn't won anything either. So what's the difference?
Right. Yeah, we are big fans of him, and we also defend him because in Mexico the critics are strong. Also here, like every game is like, oh, we need to change quarterback, and I say, why? He's a great quarterback.
We need to appreciate more so because it's Minnesota, and look at all the quarterbacks we've had to suffer through.
Right.
And to actually have a good quarterback, a consistent quarterback, I mean, it's one of those things where people bring up like the Monday Night Football record,
right?
Which he's actually done pretty well in Monday Night Football in his career. It's just like look at this year in Seattle. He played really well. He played well, and we gave up like 300 rushing yards.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, if our defense doesn't give up 40 points, we probably, you know, we win the game. So like I said, it's a team effort week in and week out. And when there's going to be games when you need to rely on, you know, one side of the ball more, but the more consistent football you can play, that's why the best teams win, is because they're good on special teams, they're good on defense, and they're good on offense.
Right. Yeah, definitely. We are on your side.
The next question is, do you want a SIM extension? Do you want a SIM extension? Yeah, for being
the head coach.
I don't know, for years.
Oh,
for
yeah.
Years, the head coach.
Sim.
He's, you know, it's interesting because I've read a lot about kind of there seems to be a crowd of people that are over Zimmer, where they're like, he hasn't done anything. And
right.
It's like, I mean, I remember what it was like, you know, with Leslie Frazier and how miserable it was. But I feel like you can't just give up on good coaches, because I know that, well, my prime example is like Bill Cowher in Pittsburgh. He was there for 14 years before he won a Super Bowl. And and then Andy Reid is another one who, I believe he was in Philly for, you know, over 10 years, but he he didn't win a Super Bowl, but he just did with Kansas City. But he still had Donovan McNabb the whole time, and who's going to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, look at these quarterbacks that Zimmer's had to. I mean, it feels like Kirk Cousins. It was the first time I think he had the same quarterback in back-to-back seasons, since he came to Minnesota. So I think that you don't let good head coaches get away. I think that he should be here until he doesn't want to coach anymore. And I think that, I mean, the proof is, what's the saying? The proof is in the pudding. Like, look at remember all the years of our defense when they were just so bad?
Right.
Like, we would, every third down and 10, like, we would give up a first down. But now, I mean, I just don't believe in getting rid of a good coach. That's where I'm at with it. I keep him here until he wants to retire and until he's done.
Yeah, we think the same. I mean, we love Mike Zimmer, and the things that he has done with the Vikings I think that are amazing. But I don't understand the people that are over him. I mean, I also think that he needs to retire as a Viking.
Yeah, it's usually the same crowd that always wants a new quarterback. It's like they want a new coach now.
Yeah, right. It's the same crowd. Yeah.
I feel that because my dad is one of those. He's like, all right, I don't want Zimmer. All right, we need another quarterback. Have you seen this guy? And he's like Kyler Murray, like, no.
Yeah.
No, man. And for example, with Eric Hendricks too. He hates Eric Hendricks, and I don't know why. But
really?
He's like,
he's amazing.
He doesn't stop.
Yeah, I mean,
he doesn't stop nothing. He doesn't do anything, and it's like, let him play.
I think the older fans are the ones that think
the older fans, because my dad is 60 years old. He has seen all the quarterbacks in Minnesota.
He's just fed up at this point.
He's like, he's not playing like Frank Tarkenton. He's not playing like Tommy Kramer and things like that. And it's like, all right, we will understand. We won't have another Frank Tarkenton. We won't have another Tommy Kramer, but man, he's not bad at all. He throws a 30-yard pass at Kirk Cousins, and he's like, but did you see him? He has fear.
He throws with fear.
He throws with fear. He throw a 30-yard pass, but he has fear.
No, that's insane.
Yeah.
What are your expectations on the rookie players?
It's gonna be difficult this year because of the the pandemic and stuff. But I feel like Justin Jefferson, for one, is I feel like he's been told too about, everyone's been saying he's a very NFL ready wide receiver as far as like his route running goes and everything. And I mean, it's pretty lucky for him to go from Joe Burrow, who's the number one pick, and then who's a very accurate thrower, to a very accurate thrower like Kirk Cousins. I mean, wide receivers dream about that kind of stuff. But I think he's going to do very well in our offense. But I think the biggest player to watch this year in our offense is Irv Smith. I know he's in his second year, but I think we should watch him a lot more this year as a wide receiver, more so with the loss of Stephon Diggs. I think Irv Smith will do a lot in the offense. But as far as the defensive backs go, Jeff Gladney and Cam Dantzler are I'm excited about them, more so because they have Mike Zimmer to be their teacher, and
absolutely
turn them into. And I mean, they're going to have to contribute right away because we basically lost our whole starting secondary, to free agency. So,
right.
I mean, not like we're going to miss Xavier Rhodes, or Trey Wayne. I mean, the fact that Trey Wayne's got like $16 million a year, whatever. I don't even know how he pulled that off, but
Yeah, right.
But there are, a lot of intriguing picks. And I mean, I think we had 15 draft picks this year. So James Lynch, defensive tackle, is another one from Baylor.
Yeah, that's
He's
awesome.
even John Randall said that he was good. So if John Randall likes you,
Yeah,
then I mean, he plays the same position. So if John Randall gives you a vote of confidence, that's never a bad thing. But yeah, I would say the defensive backs are my biggest, what I'm most excited about is to see them get into training camp and get to battle. I mean, who better to battle against than Adam Thielen every day to get better?
Right.
So
Right.
that'll help them out. But it's just exciting to have a wide receiver too when we lose a guy like Stephon Diggs, to have a wide receiver to be excited about. And I think Justin Jefferson, a lot of people are saying we can't replace Diggs, and I feel like you don't replace, when you lose good players, you don't replace them with anyone. Like, you can't replace, players like Stephon Diggs. You just find a guy to fit that role and do the best that he can. So I think that Jefferson will bring a lot to the table. He's who I'm most excited for out of the class, because I think he's going to be a lot better than some people are saying.
Yeah, I mean, we also look forward to see Jefferson, to see Dantzler. One of our players, Troy Dye, I think it's from Oregon.
Oh yeah,
He looks. I saw the tape, and he looks amazing. Like, I'm definitely looking up forward to see how he goes in the Vikings defense. And yeah, I mean, we have an amazing draft. I mean, we have one of the best, if not the best draft of all teams.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For example, I had a question there. You said that you want to see what about is going to be with Everett Smith.
Yeah.
If you are going to if he's going to receive some catches and things like that, do you prefer him than Rudolph?
I think that they're very different as far as what they do. So you can have Rudolph as a traditional tight end,
right,
and even split Irv out as a wide receiver, because he can. I mean, as we saw, you can split him out as a. And Kubiak had been saying he's going to learn I think it's the Z position, so like come out of the backfield. So Irv will be lined up at fullback and then run out of the backfield on a route instead of block. So he'll have to have a linebacker try to cover him, which will be impossible. So I think Irv brings a lot more as far as versatility goes. But as we've seen, Rudolph makes big catches in big spots, and he's a very important part of the offense.
Absolutely. Yeah. The next question was, what's the thing that makes you more proud about being a Vikings fan?
What makes me most proud? Man, I think with any team, there's kind of a small area, a small number of fans that make it miserable to be a fan. Like, you're like, how do I like this? You see him on Twitter too. You're like, how are we so passionate, and then these people like are fans of the same team?
Right.
But I think the thing that I'm most thankful for is the relationships I built, like, through being a fan, and like going to tailgating and seeing people that I only get to see during football season. Because we're kind of like live in different areas or whatever it is, and just to connect and like have that tradition of meeting up and talking about and sharing like the passion of football. And then to build off of that, it would also be like the family part of it.
Right.
So like to share that with my mom and my aunt and my cousins and everyone because this year we're excited because we play the Saints on Christmas Day. So it's like, that's cool to get the family together for when we play on holidays, which is cool. Like Thanksgiving, what was it, 2017, I believe, when we played the Lions on Thanksgiving. And it's just like cool to enjoy a holiday and then, have the Vikings play too. So I believe it. I mean, it definitely has a family element to it, which is cool. And like I said about being at the Miracle, to have so many people share a common interest, like that's really cool too. Like talking to you guys, like we don't know each other, but we could sit down for 10 hours and talk about the Vikings,
Right.
So it's cool.
Yeah, right.
I have another question for you.
Oh yeah.
That's an interesting one and a tough one. I can imagine, I can know the answer, and I don't know if you are going to feel the same. Do you think that your life and other people's life is gonna change after the Vikings win the Super Bowl?
Oh man, I like how you said after they win, not if they win. That's the kind of attitude we have to have after they win the Super Bowl. That's good. I think that I don't even know, because I put so much into it my whole life. Like that moment of them winning it, I would just cry like a baby for one. And I don't know if I could. I might have to take a season off from football because I'd be so emotionally.
Right.
I'd be so emotionally drained from all the years of not winning it. So it would be, man, I just can't even imagine I think of people like my mom though, and your dad, how you said he's seen everything. And it's like my mom is, she's 65 or 66. So she has seen everything. And
Right.
like for her to finally see a Super Bowl, and think of all the people that are like in their 90s that are Vikings fans, like,
wow, right.
so much it's kind of like the Chicago Cubs, when they won the Super Bowl finally, or the World Series. I mean, it was
yeah.
it was like 100 and some years. Like it's absolutely crazy. Like I really have no idea what would happen, but I know I'd be running down the street like with a Viking flag, waving it everywhere. Like I wouldn't even care.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. That's the dream of all of us.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that we wanted for so many times, for so long, that it will be like amazing to like see the very first Super Bowl win of the Vikings. It will be so special. We have one last question. We saw on Twitter.
Well, I was wait.
Okay.
Wait.
Okay.
What you said. We still have some time. If we can ask you some questions.
Oh yeah,
some
whatever.
Questions. Yeah, I send you a WhatsApp. Ruben.
John?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but because we still have time.
Okay, so if talking about the Super Bowl, if the Vikings ever goes to the Super Bowl, which team would you love to see them win against? Which team would you love to see the Vikings won over?
Well, this actually has always been who I wanted to face, but now it even is more. The storyline's even better because Stephon Diggs is now in the Bills, but they've lost 4 Super Bowls and we've lost 4 Super Bowls.
Oh yeah, no! So don't go there.
It would be
the Bills.
Like, I mean, it would be the most watched Super Bowl ever, right? Because one of the teams is going to finally win a Super Bowl.
Well, that's true. That's true.
That could be the worst scenario. That I was talking with my dad like one month ago, that thing, and I asked him, Dad, what if the Super Bowl were Bills against Vikings? And he told me, no, please, that will be sad, really sad for one.
Yeah, I probably go also with the Bills just because it's Stephon Diggs there. I think that will be like an explosive game. But yeah,
just make sure we win. Make sure we win.
Yeah, that's the thing. Also, I would love to see them win against the Patriots. I don't know why, because here in Mexico, it's the most popular team, like from the past recent years, the Patriots.
Okay. And in the AFC, between Pittsburgh and Patriots are most
The
famous
strongest fan base here in Mexico. It's insane. Really, it's insane how many people are there. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you, with the Bills.
Man, that's terrific. That's really
What?
it scares me, that thing. Um, if you could go back in time and rewatch a Vikings game, which one would you choose?
Man, I wish. Do you mean like be at the game there or just watch it?
No, being at the game, like
Being at the game or
live
watch
the
it,
real
whatever you want.
Because
live the real
if I could
experience.
go to any game,
Yeah.
it would have been '98 in Dallas for Thanksgiving against
Oh
the
right.
Cowboys, and
Yeah,
Randy
man.
Moss had like 3 catches, 163 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Still, I think is the most impressive stat line in NFL history. So,
Yeah, that game. Well, I didn't watch it
um,
live because I was very young, but I watched the tape.
oh yeah,
It was
yeah.
like an amazing game.
He I remember watching that with family, and we were like, still on that high of Randy Moss, as a rookie. And it was like he catches one, and we're like, oh yeah, then catches two. And then the third one was the one where he caught it like 2 yards down the field and then ran like the other 50 or whatever.
Right.
And I remember John Madden and Pat Summerall, they were calling the game. They're just like, this guy's unbelievable. As like as a commentator, you're just like, when you see a player like that, what else can you say? You're like, this guy's insane.
Right.
So I would definitely pick that game to see live. It would be between that and the Vikings Packer game at the playoff game at Lambeau and Moss to the
Okay.
Moon.
In 2004?
Yeah, it would be between those two because that would be a fun one to be at too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think my answer will be like that at Dallas. The one I think it was Thanksgiving, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah, that one.
Well, I'll give you. I don't know if it's a joke. I don't really think so because the times are really exact. But they say that my parents conceived me after that game at Dallas.
No man, that's insane.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a rumor between my family that my parents conceived me after that game because the times, the 9 months are exactly, man.
I mean, hey,
good for you.
what
I mean,
what better game for it to happen? I mean, we were all excited, so that's
Yeah,
cool.
man.
So, what's your take on Cook's situation?
Well, I don't believe in paying running backs, a lot of money, because as we saw in the Super Bowl, Raheem Mostert and Damian Williams are both undrafted free agents, and they're starting in the Super Bowl.
Right.
And like Zeke Elliott getting $90 million as a running back is absolutely crazy.
It's insane, right?
Yeah. Well, especially nowadays in the NFL, because so many teams use multiple running backs. So I do think Cook is a very important part of our offense, as we saw last year. He's very important, but I also look at the history of Gary Kubiak's offense with like running backs in general. Like he in Denver with Mike Shanahan, I mean, all those years they just plugged in random running backs and they had 1,000-yard seasons. So like the system does the running back a lot of favors. But I think like anywhere between 10 and 12 million a year, I would be okay with. But like anything like Christian McCaffrey money or Derrick Henry, I just couldn't justify that just for the fact that his durability has kind of been a question. Like he hasn't been healthy the whole time, but
Absolutely.
I mean, 10 to 12, like 3 years, like 34 million, 36 million, something like that. Like I could live with that, but I just don't want to be the team that, look at what was the Devontae Freeman on the Falcons.
Oh, right.
They they gave him like a 5-year deal, and then he played 2 years and they cut him. You know, you just don't want to be that team. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially with an offense that has a history of making running backs, you know, effective. But yeah, I'm right around 10 to 12 million. I think that the Vikings, I think they'll get that done. I think we have 10 days until the veterans report. I think the 28th is when all the players are due at camp of July. So I think that he'll get it done by then. I think we'll see Dalvin Cook on the 28th.
Yeah, I hope so.
I
hope
hope so.
because there was rumors that he wasn't going to appear as like a protest, right? So
yeah,
we were like like telling, oh, what's going to happen with Cook, or what we're going to do, but we weren't that worried because we have Madison, and I think he's a great player.
Oh yeah, and another thing with Cook is that he doesn't necessarily even need to be there right away because he knows the offense.
Right.
So it's like, as long as they're working to get a deal done, then it's cool because he can come whenever. But it's like, you like him to be there from the beginning just because you always love to have your whole team there, you know, continuity is important to have all your guys there. But I do agree about Madison when he, you know, carried the ball last year. He fits that scheme. He fits the scheme perfectly. This zone blocking scheme. They ran it at Boise State, and he definitely looked very, very comfortable for being a rookie. Definitely.
Right.
Well, I had a question for Eric, but he's not here, as we see.
It is last question, right?
Yeah. Thorvaldson is a huge fan of Don Julio 70.
The tequila.
And the tequila.
Okay.
And we were going to ask you if you like tequila, because you must know that Ruben he was born in the place that the tequila is made.
Wow. Funny story is I don't drink, so I don't like tequila. Well, I used to, but I've been sober now almost, it's like 7 years and 9 months. I haven't drank.
Yeah.
So, but I can tell you before I got sober, I definitely love tequila.
Yeah, I mean, because we saw we currently see in Twitter that like post images of margaritas, and I think I think I saw, I don't know if it was your Twitter or Eric's, that it was like the bottle of the Don Julio 70, which is one of the best tequilas here. But we were like curious because if Mexicans are proud anything that is not tacos, it's tequila.
Chivas. And Chivas.
And it's tequila because I mean it's the drink here. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But
we were going to ask you that to Eric, because I saw the last time that he put in Twitter. Have you seen Trailer Park Boys?
I haven't.
No, you should. It's on Netflix.
It is funny. Okay, I'll check it out.
It's really funny. There's a scene that one of those guys called Ricky says, "Tonight we are gonna get drunk as fuck tonight. Drunk as And there were fireworks and things like that. And Eric and Thorvaldson put a tweet that he said that I am going to get drunk as fuck tonight with
Oh, okay, got you.
Before we say goodbye to the fans, what would you tell them, to all the Mexican fans that watch this video? What would you say to them?
Well, first off, I appreciate such a global following of the Vikings, and I know we were all in this together as fans, and as frustrating as it gets every year, it seems like. Well, actually, it has been every year because we haven't won anything yet. But I think if we, we keep up the passion and keep up the commitment to the team, I think we can get over that hump and win that Super Bowl and enjoy it together. And I do hope we eventually, get to play a game in Mexico City, because I'd love to come down there and check out, your guys' neck of the woods, and and share that passion for football that we share, the passion for the Vikings. I think it'd be very cool. So I just want to tell all you guys that I appreciate this opportunity to kind of share my side of the story from being in Minnesota and on the front line, so to speak, of being a Vikings fan and all that comes with it. So yeah, I'm very very thankful for the opportunity, and I appreciate all of our fans the same, that are willing to, as I know, and you guys know, willing to put their mental health on the line every weekend.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, I mean, we will encourage Mexican fans to go and follow you, because we think that you are one of the best fans out there of the Vikings, that one of the best that represents the community over there. We will be interviewing, I think, Eric for another time, hopefully. But we also like to thank you for your time, for giving your opinion to the Mexican fans. And yeah, I mean, thank you very much for accepting this invitation.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, yes. When I sent you that tweet, we both were like, "Oh my God, please."
Yeah, we were nervous.
We were really nervous. Even when he told us, "All right, he's in," I was like, "Oh my God."
Yeah, we were very excited, because we appreciate all your tweets, your thoughts, and yeah, I mean, we really thank you for your time.
I'm happy to do it, guys. I appreciate you guys thinking of me, and I'll always join whenever you need to. If you ever need me to explain why Kirk Cousins is good, I'll definitely hop on and help you.
Yeah, absolutely. Because here in Mexico, yeah, the critics are strong with Kirk Cousins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but thank you, everyone that watched this video. Go follow Brian. He's on Twitter. We will be putting his profile in the description of this video, so you can follow him. And we hope you liked this episode, and Skol.